Hey everybody, it's Wednesday, busy day for earnings. We're on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange with Jim Cramer. All right, Jim, let's get right to it. Start off with United Technologies earnings, organic revenue growth.
Yeah, they had good organic revenue growth. Greg Hayes delivering again. They have far more demand for engines than they can produce. I like the fact that Otis is starting to turn around a little bit. Very solid quarter, just still one more solid quarter. They'll use the money that they get back for repatriation to pay down the debt for Rockwell Collins. They'll continue to fund scholarships. What's not to like? Greg Hayes delivers.
Yeah, some people had said months ago that they maybe paid too much for Rockwell Collins.
No, they had to get it. They will be the connected plane. It's a brilliant acquisition. People thought they paid too much for Goodrich. Now, as Hayes said, it was beachfront property. You got to pay up for beachfront property.
All right, and we're going to talk about GE's quarter in our Action Alerts Plus call. But let's move on to Texas Instruments. It's had a great run, but today not so much.
I mean, look, it should never have been up as much as it was. I don't really see the slowdown that some of the analysts said. It's a great Internet of Things play. It's got a big buyback, one of the best buybacks in the New York Stock Exchange. It's well positioned. And when you see that kind of decline, that's a couple big institutions fighting to get out. You might want to buy some at 3 o'clock and buy some tomorrow after whoever downgrades it. I don't know if you're going to get one. Buy some now and buy some tomorrow.
Also, Jim, JP Morgan out with a note on Apple, more worries about the iPhone X.
Look, I give up.
It's enough.
They're going to send it down. Maybe the iPhone X isn't selling as much as they like. I don't know. I know people want to trade the stock. They want to sell it at 175, maybe get back in at 163, 165. If they want to do that, that's absolutely fine. I'm not going to fight them.
I mean, how many times do you have to say, own it, don't trade it?
It can go down. It's a stock. It's not a holy grail. It's not Old Faithful that comes back at a certain point. It's a stock. If the X isn't selling as well as it should, then the stock will go down. And then we look at it again. I'm just saying for the vast majority of people, to sell at 175, buy back at 163, 165 is too hard. And that's what I'm discouraging. I'm not discouraging the idea that stock can never go down. That would be foolish. The notes are obviously negative, except for Katie Huberty from Morgan Stanley. But I am never against someone who thinks they're clever enough to get out here and buy back. But that's not my audience.
Well, and you mentioned Katie Huberty. She's been very bullish on China specifically.
Right, and you know, again, she could be wrong too. Nobody's perfect. Am I backing away from Apple? No, this has always been my stance, which is that there are many people who, when Carl Icahn said there were problems with China, of which there were. You got out maybe at 98. Did you get back in 93? What I've dealt with for ever since pre-FANG is the idea of someone selling something and not getting back in. And that's the constituency I deal with, which is that you have a stock that sells at 13 times earnings. And if you want to sell it and rack up some capital gains, come back in, I hope you're nimble enough. In my career, I've rarely been that nimble. And where'd it get me? To a stock that almost went to $1 trillion. So same thing with Alphabet for Action Alerts and Facebook. These are stocks, yeah, they go down. Facebook was down a quick 10. Alphabet's been down as much as 100. Amazon's been down 200. I just am not clever enough to buy, buy at the increments that people want. And it's a very tough thing to do. But if you can do it, God love you. Nobody ever got hurt taking a profit.
Jim, we should also talk about Davos, of course. We had JP Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon saying on CNBC we could get to 4% economic growth.
Yeah, he said for a quarter. You know, I was actually... Jamie's doing a lot of good things for the country. I think that both Jamie and Lloyd are reluctant to say what I wish they would say, which is, wow, what a stock market. A lot of it is because of deregulation, but they can't do that because then the government might say, hey, maybe we ought to re-regulate. They're not going to say, look, President Trump has reignited the economy because they're political people, and 50% of the people who borrow from them probably hate Trump. I'll say it, he's been great for the stock market. And I kind of wish they'd say it. Even if you disagree with him, he's been great for the stock market.
And you've been very upfront about that point.
Yeah, I mean, I hate him or love him. He's been great for the stock market. And I was hoping one of these guys would say that. But and I'm not being politically incorrect by saying that. I'm being empirical. but I don't see many people saying it.
Diamond also punted on Bitcoin. The question you've been getting quite a bit.
Difference between cryptocurrency and Bitcoin. Now, Bitcoin, and we're working on some stuff for TheStreet about it, and there's a lot of good commentary, but Bitcoin is a repository of wealth for people who don't trust anything else. I get that. I think it got too expensive. So are the other currencies. I like the way that they have blockchain, meaning that there's no title issues and there's no friction. I like the fact that Jamie said, that Jamie punted, but Lloyd said something interesting. The question was, do they have a Bitcoin desk, cryptocurrency desk? And he said, I've heard that. No, we don't. And then the follow-up question was, do you facilitate in any way for your customers Bitcoin transactions? And he said, we do what our customers want. Bingo.
Ooh. All right, a subtle difference there. All right, Jim, who do you have coming up on Mad Money tonight?
Well, we're focused on esports tonight. Logitech had a great quarter, and we're going to have whether esports is ever going to become an NCAA sport. I think it will, with scholarships. And we have First Horizon. I like the banks, and First Horizon's been one that has quietly moved up rather dramatically.
All right, that's tonight, 6 p.m. Eastern on Mad Money. Jim and I haven't even scratched the surface. There are many more stocks to talk about. Join us on actionalertsplus.com.